welcome back to another episode of Thar Talks. My name is Nanjapa.
And my name is Arup.
And today, with us in the studio, we have Mr. Arup Gohain, a director of Rock School London in Nepal, Sri Lanka, and India.
Yes, sir.
And we have Mr. Norton York, chairman and founder of Rock School London.
Hi, nice to be here.
So, I've heard so many good things about Rock School London, and I never thought this day would actually come when I'm interviewing the founder and the director, but me and Arav, we could not be more happier.
That's right.
Oh, good. Well, we're delighted to be here. Arup was telling me all about the Good Shepherd School and how wonderful it is. We're getting involved with RSL Awards and Rock School here, and we're just thrilled to be here to see your wonderful students, meet your great teachers. We just had a wonderful development session with your teachers and your visionary principal, and see all the facilities you've got, how lucky you are and how excellent the work is that we've seen so far.
You are absolutely right, sir, and we pride ourselves a lot on it. So that being said, let's dive right in. So Rock School London, as we know, it has grown steadily while many art institutions have struggled to stay relevant. What do you think Rock School London understood early on when it was starting out that other institutions missed about specifically art education?
Thank you for that. Well, we started with music because we wanted to provide something that was missing in the world of music education back in the early 1990s. Back then, if you could think about Britain, UK, the place where the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, David Bowie, George Michael, Elton John, lots of Annie Lennox, loads of people, Amy Winehouse, loads of people had developed their art, there was no music education for anyone who didn't do classical music. So where we started was a simple matter of fairness and accessibility. We wanted to enable young people to learn about the music that they love. It's a very simple idea, and it motivates people. A bit like you doing podcasting. Podcasting is a modern form of communication, and it's wonderful, and you want to do it, so you want to learn it, and you want to be actively involved. So it's the same with pop music. Young people love pop music, therefore they want to play it, and to play it they can then do playing even more effectively and creatively if they do a bit of learning about it. There are lots of ways of learning about it. We don't say that there's only one way, although obviously we think the Rock School way is great, and that's why we started. So I guess focusing on the things that young people are interested in so that they can learn what they love, not what their teachers tell them to like. That's the idea.
Yes, sir, that's actually very true.
I think it also talks about RSL's emphasis on the contemporary arts.
Yeah. So that's why we also now we have syllabuses around all types of pop music. So not just, we started with guitar, bass and drums, we moved into piano, keyboards, vocals, theory, music production. Now we're into stage school exams in music theatre and in performance arts, jazz dance, Indian music can be done in our group exams, and obviously vlogging and podcasting, which you all know well here at Good Shepherd.
You're right, sir. We do. Me and Arav, it's been our passion to do podcasting. And Arav, do you want to do an RSL examination in podcasting now?
Actually, I have done that earlier.
You have?
Well done.
I appeared for the grade 2 examination, although it didn't really quite end up that great for me because I got a merit in that. So
okay.
I think which is still great, but I had aimed for higher.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the thing is, firstly, well done, you got a merit. A merit's not a fail, a merit's not a pass. A merit takes work. Did you work for the exam?
That's true.
Very much.
Okay, so well done. One thing which I hope people will understand about Rock School is our exams are quite hard. The reason they're quite hard is the reality. If you're going to work in the creative arts or the media, is you need to be really good at it, because there are millions of people like you who want to work in the media and the music industries.
Yeah, so there's no leniency.
If you're just playing at it, then you may find it challenging to succeed. So we think that if our exams are challenging and we make sure that we are demanding and we have great examiners who really know their subjects, then we're going to give you the honest view about your progress. And I think that's what you deserve, not some quick and easy things so that we can sell more exams. That's never been our philosophy. You know, we're a family business, and lots of the people who work with us, like Arup, worked for us for 10, 20 years. Arup's only at 10 years, but we'll give him some time. When he gets a bit grayer, maybe one day we'll get to 20 or 30. So, we believe in talent, and we know that talent needs challenge. And that's what we put into our exams as well.
That is very, very true and very, very inspiring, sir. Arup, would you care to?
Yeah. So at its core, do you see RSL as an organization that trains performers and future influencers, or one that develops broader life skills through the arts?
Yes. Well, we do both. We are an awarding organisation, RSL Awards. We do have a new project in London, which is starting in the UK and spreading very soon, which has just started in September, which is actually a teaching organisation, which is called Rock School. So we are getting involved in training people as well. But RSL Awards, as an awarding organisation, is about inspiring excellence. So we hope by providing that inspiration, providing teachers with the curricula and the syllabi and the tools with which they can really provide excellent education, we will specifically help young performers develop to their full potential. But at the same time, if you're doing a vlogging, podcasting, stage school, rock school exam, you're also understanding transferable skills which will take you anywhere in life, whether you want to be a performer or whether you want to work in medicine or engineering or parliament or whatever it might, or corporate life. The ability to present convincingly to people live is a hugely valuable skill. The ability to evoke emotion and to invite people to join you in a story or delight in a new idea or an adventure is something which in different ways our syllabi encourage and facilitate students to do. So there are transferable skills and there are arts or media specific skills. Depends what individuals need. That's the nice thing about an open system like this.
I really like that.
And I think the relevance of podcasting and what RSL is doing at the moment cannot be overstated in the current world, because we live in a digital age, the age of social media, and the influencer market, the job market for influencers has been booming exponentially.
Yes.
So I feel that with whatever Rock School London is doing right now, a larger amount of the youth may be encouraged to take up a lot of occupations in the digital field.
Yeah, and you also mentioned it in one of your speeches earlier. So we just stop being the consumers of all of this media, and we eventually start becoming the creators of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Thank you for quoting me, Arup.
Yeah.
How has RSL managed to remain accessible in this day and age? We live in very diverse and different parts of the world without compromising on quality and standards which it has upheld.
Yeah, well, that's a hard job, and thank you for saying that we uphold them. We do that by staying true to our original ethos and mission. We believe in excellence. So you give up and you make compromises when that excellence is something that you're willing to give up just because you want to make a quick buck. And we don't do that. So, for instance, in our music exams, you'll find that some music exam boards in the world have their examiners not listen to the whole track. Well, that's a nonsense if you think about it artistically, because it means that you're not hearing the whole bit of the art.
Yeah.
So our examiners listen to the whole track because that's the piece of art. It's a bit like painting a picture and only finishing half. So we are always led by the reality of the art. That's the keystone. And if we find ourselves toying with decisions which compromise the art, then we have generally said, no, that's not the way to go. We need to keep true to the art, because that's what we're here for. Otherwise, it just becomes a piece of paper that no one thinks is important or serious. So yeah, I hope that sort of explains it as best we can.
I mean, it does, Thank you, sir, for the insights. But What I've noticed that many institutions, they prioritize prestige. For example, I have done Trinity College London for a lot of the same instruments,
Yeah.
okay, and they prioritize prestige. However, I've noticed that RSL seems to prioritize opportunity, which is something so great, and I'd like to ask you about it. So, was this a deliberate choice from the start of
The
RSL?
very beginning.
In the beginning?
Yeah, I suppose I can't promise you that it was a deliberate choice in the way that you framed the question, because I was a bit busy building the thing. But here's the thing: I started RSL because a group of my students were being excluded from funding for government-funded music education in the UK simply because they played pop music and not classical music. So, right at the heart of why we started Rock School, and we've carried on with this philosophy and attitude, is the desire to produce opportunity for students. Actually, if you look at the ABRSM or TCL or any of the other music exam boards, what I call the sort of old-fashioned era, 1800s exam boards, right? They were started because the colleges that they represent in London were sending teachers out round the world, and they wanted to show that they knew what they were doing. So in a way, that was a teacher-led initiative, and ours was more of a student-led process, where it was about helping the students. And I mean, those first students for whom I made Rock School happen included they were an amazing group, actually. There's a wonderful group, band, guitar, bass, drums, singing, guys called Reef, who did 6 albums for Sony and are still touring globally. And then there's one of our fellows, Fraser T. Smith.
I was researching about him recently.
Okay, yeah. So Fraser, have you ever heard Stormzy or Dave? Do you know those tracks? Do you know those guys?
I can't say I do, sir.
Yeah, they're UK rappers that have won Grammys and Brit Awards,
Wow.
and he produced all of their tracks, and he co-wrote one of Adele's huge hits and lots of others. So, these are really wonderful, talented young musicians. So I feel it was really worth it because they were lost without a bit of a structure to come. Then they came into a structure, and then they could meet some mates, learn from what each other are doing as well as the teachers. And Rock School exams were just the facilitating process for allowing those people to get funding and to be recognised for the quality of what they did by the education system, and that then helped them get their careers. And it's lovely now that some of those fantastic musicians and business people are now our fellows and contributing to the future of Rock School just by collaborating with us on things.
Yes, sir. And in addition to the people who have essentially learned a lot from Rock School London, I was doing a bit of research, and I saw, the moment I saw Ed Sheeran on the list of people that have done a Rock School London exam, my mind was blown. The international sensation, Ed Sheeran, and one of my favorites, Jess Glynn as well.
Yeah, great.
My favorite singers.
Yeah.
Shape of You, my favorite song back in the day.
Oh, well. So Ed did a one-year program with one of our partner colleges, ACC, and we do all of the qualifications for ACC and have done since they first started 25 years ago. And Ed is now a patron of ACC, and in fact, some of our exam centres, there's a wonderful music school actually where my son learned and now where he teaches, called the Rhythm Studio. And Ed Sheeran now has a music foundation, and he's funded, it's new, it's only been going about 9 months to a year, and they funded some specific programs, and the Rhythm Studios program, which is all about Rock School, was one of the programs that Ed funded. And Ed visited the Rhythm Studio. My son happened to be teaching that day, so he was thrilled he got to see Ed, and he sang with some of the students, and so he's involved. And how brilliant that such a young man he's still pretty young, he's in his 30s.
He is.
Has A, created the success that he has, and B, chosen to fund music education in British schools to try and make some of the changes that we wanted to make a long time ago. And I suppose I'd like to think that because my generation started this type of education, now Ed's coming through, and a younger generation, they can mainstream this activity even more, because it does take time to create change in education. I think here in the Good Shepherd, you're living at a transformative moment in your school, it seems to me, as a visitor. And but please don't forget, making the sort of transformative change that's going on here or anywhere, whether it's Rock School or anything, is a huge achievement and effort. And so I guess we started that progress and process in music education, and Ed benefited from it. I'm not allowed to tell you what mark he got. I could. He's on our system.
Oh, is it confidential, sir?
Would you like us to? You see, you wouldn't like me to announce your mark, so no. Everyone is confidential. So yeah,
I love that.
Confidential.
Yeah.
That's,
So no, we can't say you what he did. He did very well, so you know, we're really thrilled about that. I'm glad you love it, Ed Sheeran. You know, up British music as far as I'm concerned.
Indeed, sir. So candidates, while preparing for the exams, I've noticed that they get very stressed and tensed.
I mean, I was really scared for a music production exam.
Yes. Well, it's a really tricky exam.
And they're nervous and they're sweating, and that thought is recurrent in their mind. Am I going to mess up? Will I do well? Will my examiner think this of me or that of me? But we want to ask you today, sir, that how should candidates mentally prepare for an RSL assessment to gain the most from it, not only maybe in terms of marks, but the overall experience?
I don't know, Arup, do you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, one of the things that I think our examiner also goes through, that in their trainings, that they try to always make the students comfortable instead of making them nervous. So I think you have to take the exam as a performance conversation rather than a judgment. So you need to be calm, you need to prepare. So the examiners are not going to, do the judgment based on your performance only, but they're also going to see how relaxed and calm you are, and how you're enjoying the exam that you're giving, whether it's music or any kind of art. So you need to be just calm and enjoying the music or whatever dance exam you're giving. So the whole, I think, point of giving the exam would be to just relax yourself.
Yeah, like even during my exam, the examiner was like really warm to me. I mean,
oh, good. Yeah. Well, when we first started, I actually wrote a script for the examiners, because there are certain things examiners are not allowed to say, because examiners aren't teachers. So natural things which teachers will say to encourage you, like the words "well done." One of the key things that examiners can never do is say "well done" to you, because that would suggest to you that you're going to get a high mark, and that may or may not be the case. So there are quite a lot of things that people can say and can't say, but one of the key elements of how we wrote the script and how we developed the way that examiners work is that we wanted them to be friendly and accessible, clear but firm and friendly. I meet with the examiners once a year. I'm not really allowed, because I own Rock School. It might be interesting to you to know that the regulator in the UK, Ofqual, requires that I don't really have very much contact with the examiners, which is quite difficult for me, because these people work for me, and I like to know the people who work for me.
Of course.
Yeah.
But the reason is that it's important that, as the owner of RSL, I don't influence their academic decisions at all. And I'm very keen to make sure that's the case. So I get to see them once a year at their annual conference, and I generally say the same thing every year, which is, apart from say hi, I remind them that when candidates get their certificate, like you've got my signature on it. So my name's on the exam, and I take that very personally. and hopefully I'm being friendly to you. You can meet me. I'm not a scary person, hopefully. And so I expect the examiners to represent me personally when they're there. And that's what I tell them. I say, look, I'm going to try and give you everything you need to do to do a great job. So please go and do a great job. And remember, you are representing yourself and Rock School and me personally. So please treat people in the way that you think I would expect and wish you to treat them.
I absolutely love that notion, sir. And I am in complete agreement with the fact that if you are to inspire the people that work under you, you have to be a role model yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arif.
Yeah. So, sir, RSL now offers certifications in like even more modern areas like podcasting, public speaking, digital content creation.
Yeah.
So why are these skills like no longer optional in modern education? Like these can't just be ignored. These are 21st century skills. So why do you
think that change has come in modern education?
Well, I think you've just answered it. Look at this studio. I mean, the life has changed, so education should match that. It's as simple as that. And in a way, that goes back to where we started with Rock School. Music had changed, music education hadn't. That was the problem.
Yeah.
So just as we still have books and we have TV, we now have vlogging and podcasting and digital content online on social media. And so that's where people are thinking and speaking and communicating and challenging ideas.
And I think the communication is like the new currency of the modern world.
That's it.
So these are not optional anymore.
That's well put, sir.
Yeah.
So traditional music, as we know it, has often been criticized. There have been many negative remarks on it for its rigid structure.
Yeah.
But how has RSL worked to center a learner's love for music rather than just technical correctness? I was researching the RSL website today, and I saw that it was not just the skill of the candidate; it was more of the candidate's interpretation.
Yeah.
So how has RSL worked towards?
Yeah. Well, again, we're led by the art of pop music. Firstly, to say we regard it as an art. Some other music educators who are maybe more traditional might regard it as a necessary evil that they have to deal with this youth culture pop music. And if only the pop music of the world hadn't happened, everything would be much easier for them. So, we regard it as an art, number one. Secondly, we are led by the art. And what do we know about the art? Well, what we know is that the art of pop music is about innovation and with technology and with style and fashion and emotions. And that is not a rigid set of parameters. And so when the examiners are marking, there is an overriding approach to examining, which we don't write it down. It's our special Rock School content. And I am told that the examiners call it Norton's rule. Okay, so Norton's rule is about style.
Okay.
And I was chatting to your music teachers about it just now. And what it says is this, that, if someone plays a piece and they don't play it exactly how it was written on the page, however, if their performance is within or extending the style of the piece in a great way that's really wonderful to listen to, that we should give credit and encourage that rather than penalise that because it's not the exact written notes on the page.
Wow.
And it's important, though, we should say that if someone changes something because they're obviously making it easier to play, the examiners won't accept that. So it's got to be stylish and cool, if cool is still a cool word. I don't.
Yeah.
My son
It's
tell
evergreen.
me.
It's evergreen.
Is it evergreen? Okay, I'm delighted. Okay, because sometimes my sons say, "Dad, don't say cool." So forgive me for that. So, but if it's stylish, then we love it, right? And there's lots of ways that pop music is made where technology's traditional use is subverted. You take a distortion pedal and you do something new with it, so you make a new sound which it wasn't really designed to make, but you then use it on a record and it's the signature sound of the record. That's what pop music does, and that's what we should be encouraging, because that's new human expression. Otherwise, what we end up doing is creating sort of music notation reading automatons. Well, that's not fun to listen to for the examiner. It's not fun to play, and that's what creates the anxiety. Whereas if people can know that even if they make a little bit of a unusual line on the music, if they can pull it off with a style and a flourish, that's what musicians do when we're playing gigs.
Yeah.
We don't always play it correctly, but we know how to make what may be an error into a feature.
Well, I find that very, very progressive,
Yeah,
in terms of thought. Like, I've heard of a lot of musicians who supposedly mess up, but none of their fans notice. None of the fans in the concert notice
Yeah.
because of the flair they put in.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah,
end of the
it's
day,
the-
you love seeing them doing their thing, really speaking to the masses through their music, and that's what matters. And
Yeah.
coming back to my previous question, in regions where art education isn't always prioritized, how does RSL communicate its relevance to parents as well as institutions?
Oh, I would really like to say something about this. Like,
Go ahead.
This was probably 2 years earlier, like when I told my mother that I want to be a music producer. So then she told me that it's not quite like music production. It's all about chance. Like, you can't just expect to get into the field and just blow up if you don't have the skills. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's tricky because the world of music is challenging, and there are millions of people who want to do it and make money out of it. And you don't have to go to education to do it. If you're really into your music, you can do it. But education can be a brilliant way of introducing you to skills and techniques and people. And music is a real people business, right? So I think there's sort of two questions here. There's the parent issue, and then there's the sort of awareness in places where music education might not be established. I think for the parents, it's important for people who are parents to, they want to protect you and look after you and give you good guidance. So the clue in working in music is it's the music business. There are two words of that, and never forget that. So if you are commercial minded and businesslike about how you do your music career, then you give yourself a chance, if your music is good enough, that you will be able to commercially make it pay. And there are lots of ways. This isn't the place today to go into all the ways of doing that, but that's the crucial thing. And remember, the music has got to be brilliant. When I was teaching in universities pop music years ago, I would say to my students, if you really want to succeed as an artist, please understand you will have to be obsessive, because you're in competition with obsessive people. So if you are thinking about embarking on that, look at the people who have succeeded. Who's the most talented music producer? Gosh, I can immediately, someone like Prince.
Okay.
Brilliant American songwriter, producer. At the age of about 18, 19, he was the first ever artist that a major label in America signed and allowed him to produce his own records in his own studio.
Wow.
With no
that's-
supervision. Won millions of Grammys. I mean, he died tragically young, but he's like a Mozart of his generation. Okay, so check him out, Prince, on Spotify. Later, you'll love him. Amazing music videos as well. Okay, so you still need to look at yourself and go, okay, well, Prince is the state of the art, or was when I was young. So what do I have to do to be as good as him? Because the music industry is also cruel, because being good is not always enough.
Yeah.
It's not the same as being an accountant or a lawyer. You can study really hard in law and accountancy and be good and make your way. In music, you can study really hard, But if your music doesn't have something unusual or special, you may find it tricky to break an audience.
Yeah.
But your skills with podcasting and vlogging and social media are also now absolutely crucial to young artists. If they don't engage with that in an effective way, they also don't break through. So that's something that you are doing already, which sets you in good stead.
Thank you, sir, for those very, very relevant insights. And we would like to end with one final question.
Okay.
You know, we've had a very productive conversation up till now.
Thank
so
you.
we would like to end with an even more insightful question. When students look back on their RSL journey years, you know, the information RSL has given them, the experience, what do you hope they feel? What do you hope they feel if it gave them beyond the qualification itself?
I hope that, well, I can tell you what people tell me now who have done that journey already, and which is that it's usually a feeling of empowerment and confidence. That by finding a qualification and a syllabus and a curriculum that they could study on something which they were passionate about, it gave them the confidence to develop who they really can be. The qualification, the curriculum can't make you into the professional artist or communicator that you might become, not as an individual, but if it can be part of the journey, which is like a facilitating springboard to take you to the next stage where you can launch yourself into the world. And then we'll see what the world makes of it, what you do. And I hope you're both successful and that all the kids at the school are successful as they wish to be with that. But I think it's the springboard to the future. You know, I think the word education goes back to the Latin word educare. It means to lead on. So that's what qualifications should be. They're a moment when we as the people who set the curriculum and the examiners and the managers and everyone involved are hoping to lead you on to the next thing in an inspiring and effective way. And so I guess that would be that's what Fraser says to me when we chat. He goes, you know, Norton, it was really tough auditioning onto your course, and then we did it, and then suddenly 2 years later I was in the music biz. It's like, okay, thanks, hooray.
Well, I completely love that mission and the vision of Rock School London, you know, as a springboard, like you said, sir. And I feel it should continue to do its fundamental duties to elevate new performers, young performers, to the next stage of their journey in music and the performing arts. So with that, we bring to an end this episode of the Thar Talks. Thank you so much, Mr. Gohain and Mr. York, for joining us in our lovely studio. And we'll see you very, very soon in a new episode of the Thar Talks. Stay tuned.